Hello, Joyce-Anne Anthony, aka JJ here with 3 grease pencil goodies in Blender 3.0 that actually I learned from Pablo. If you don't know, every Monday he does a Blender Today where he goes over new features, not just with the grease pencil, but in Blender overall. And they can be found on Blender's YouTube page. And now to the new features. So the first new feature is this fading effect that you can create in Blender 3.0. So right now with the grease pencil, I just wrote out my name. And to do this, you can do this with the thickness and opacity modifier. So I just have the thickness, you turn on fading. And, oh, I forgot to add an empty. So to do this, you need to add an empty. So I'm just Shift A, empty. I'm gonna add a sphere, excuse me. So just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so to add the effect, I need to go back to my stroke, and then I add the fading, and then for the object, I put the empty. Right now, if you see it, it's very, very subtle. I don't know if you guys can see how it's really thick when I'm over it with the empty, but when I go away from it, my lines get thinner. But I'm gonna make it more dramatic so you can see. So I'm gonna play with the numbers. Okay, so I made my lines super thick, so now hopefully you can see. Of course, the closer the grease pencil is to the empty, the thicker the lines are, and then the farther away, the thinner. And then I also noticed you can also play with the z-axis. So as you can see, the farther away I get from it, the thinner my lines get, the thinner my whole name gets. And like I said previously, you can also do this with the opacity modifier. So I'm gonna add that. And I'm just doing the same thing, fading. And then for the object, I'm selecting the empty. I'm just gonna play with the numbers. So again, where the empty is over, that's where the opacity is at 100. But again, the farther away the empty gets, the more transparent it becomes. You can definitely play around with it. And I even made this short little animation. The second new grease pencil goodie is the ability to add a layer of material to blank objects. So right now I'm in Blender 2.93 beta, just to show you the difference between now and going to Blender 3.0. So I'm gonna add a blank object, so Shift A, and then I'm going to go to grease pencil and add a blank. So in the past, I would click on it, and then I would have to go to the object data properties, new layer, then material properties, new, and then now in Blender 3.0, it does it for you. It does this step for you. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did, Shift A, I'm gonna add a grease pencil blank. So now when I click on the stroke, it's selected. I go to my object data properties. I already have a layer, and then I go to material objects. It already has the material selected for me. And of course you can go in and change the settings. But as Pablo was describing this in Blender Today, this is just a way to speed up your workflow. So the third grease pencil goodie is the ability to add randomize offset options. So I'm just going to go to my modifier and add the offset modifier. And you have these new options under randomize. So I'm going to play around with the settings to show you what you can do on the x-axis, the y-axis, which is my personal favorite. Isn't that so cool? And last but not least, the z-axis. I was playing around with this, and there's a lot of different things you can do with this. I mean, I personally think this is a really cool feature that they added. As you can see, I played around with the offset under randomize, but there's also a rotation and scale that you can also play around with. Thank you so much for watching. This is Joyce-Anne Anthony, aka JJ. Until next time.